On Osrc News at 7, social commentators urge more participation of religious organizations in politics towards social re-engineering. NDLEA naps Church General Overseer with contraband drugs at Lagos Airport. Bandits attack claims 5 lives in Katsina State. And from the foreign scene, Russian forces attack Ukrainian military base, killing 9 people. A very good evening. Thank you. The Lenten season, a part of the historical Christian calendar, is typically celebrated by Catholics and some mainland Protestant churches. The 40-day period is to enable Christian Lent and Directorate of Politics and Governance by authority of the Redeemed Christian Church of God to support the political ambitions of members. Some religious leaders and political watchers who spoke with Osrc Richard Ilesami in Akure said the church as an institution system. The call is coming on the heel of
the observance of a stable electoral cycle which provides a sound basis of hope about the growing prospects of credible elections in the country. However, as stable as the nominal in Nigeria's elections, while vote is viewed as a formidable weapon to bring in a good government and engender good governance, the attitude of Nigerians to their constitutional and civic responsibility remains a source of concern as the clock ticks towards the 2023 general elections. A check on previous elections in Nigeria evidence in the 30,280,052 that voted during the 1999 presidential election registered for by 57,938,945 Nigerians.
Against any officer that is not performing well is the fact that you have casted your vote for that individual. Without that, you have not performed your civic responsibility, and so you don't have any reason in this process and defeat all pecuniary interest, influences. There is no way you can get the best.
The 2023 general elections are a few months away, and large turnout of eligible citizens will directly influence the outcome of the elections, which will in turn translate to the desired democracy Nigerians crave for. Richard Ilesami, Osrc News.
Now back to the story on participation in politics. Religious organizations in Nigeria have been challenged to institute a directorate that will increase the political consciousness of their members ahead of the 2023 general elections and beyond. This call is coming amidst the controversies trailing the creation of a Directorate of Politics and Governance by authority of the Redeemed Christian Church of God to support the political ambitions of members. Some religious leaders and political watchers who spoke with Osrc's Richard Ilesami in Akure said the church as an institution in society must pick interest in the political development of a country to engender good governance. The report.
The Lord is going to surprise someone here tonight.
It surfaced in the media space 2 days ago to the surprise of many, a memo from authority of the Redeemed Christian Church of God announcing the establishment of a Directorate of Politics and Governance in the church. According to the memo addressed to all regional and provincial pastors of the church, the Directorate is to coordinate the engagement of ROCCG members who are willing to go into politics and as well mobilize support for them where required. The move has been generating shades of opinions and creating suspicion among members and Nigerians who believe the move is to support the supposed ambition of the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who is a pastor in the church. However, the ROCCG, through its spokesperson, Pastor Laiton Lubi, clarified that the department is to sensitize and increase members' political consciousness ahead 2023 elections as part of its contributions to engender good governance. A former chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Ondo State, Reverend Ayola Dapo, and the association's current director of planning, research and strategy, Prophet Akindaramola said the church as an institution has a role to play in creating political awareness among members.
It is part of her responsibilities to ensure that the church prepares members who will become responsible citizens who will rise up to their duties in ensuring that we have a good governance in this nation.
That's what they are doing now. Well, if they are saying that they are of A or of B, it's not. I don't believe in that. But if to get results for Nigeria, to get the best candidate that can rule, can restore the nation, is welcome.
Also, a prophet and political analyst Folusho Oguntuashe and a public affairs commentator Zadok Akintoye want other religious institutions to borrow a leaf from RCCJ and have such a directorate in place to encourage good governance.
So it is rightful, it is correct, it's good. It's a good role model which other churches should also follow. And by implication, people only see it one side, one way, that is only the Christian church or Redeemed that is encouraging that. No.
The quality or the quantum of God or godliness that you find in a democracy is dependent on the quantum of godliness in the society. And if you look at it, the religious organizations are assumedly the closest to God because that's what they preach. So if you excise them, the democracy further becomes debased. So I think that every member of the church, irrespective of the political party they support, must encourage the religious institutions to engage like this.
The church, of course, is populated by members with different political beliefs, and this perhaps informed the worries of some people on how to balance support for those with political ambitions.
The church has created a political desk. They have not created a partisan desk. They are not saying they are either supporting party A, B, or C. They are just saying that the people should be encouraged, irrespective of the political parties, to engage.
The only thing is that they will not turn their pulpit to be preaching political parties, but they can use the pulpit to also inform members, because it is that the church should engage in.
With the directorate now in place, notwithstanding the dust being raised, stakeholders look forward to events that will unfold as the clock ticks towards the 2023 general elections. Richard Lesomi for Osrc News.
Now back to the story on Lent. The Lenten season, a part of a historical Christian calendar, is typically celebrated by Catholics and some mainland Protestant churches. The 40-day period is to enable Christians open up their hearts to God's refining grace through prayer, confession, fasting and almsgiving, though some faithful do not adhere to the tenets of Lent. Our reporter Joy Pius was out to sample opinion of religious leaders on the behavioral disposition of Christians during Lent and what could be done to return Christians to its proper observance.
Every year, Catholics and other Protestant churches observe the Lenten season, a period of 40 days set aside to mark an intentional season of focus on Christ's life, ministry, sacrifice, and resurrection. The period is believed to be a time when Christians focus on praying, fasting, and almsgiving. It also requires some kind of sacrifices by abstaining from certain things to reduce distractions and focus more on God. Do Christians totally observe the tenets of Lenten season?
Period in which all Christians, especially in Anglican Communion, this Lenten season, we observe it as a period of sober reflection to go to God in prayer and fasting.
It's not every denomination that has Christian tradition. It's different from having a tradition right from the time of Christ for 2,000 years to the present day. That's a tradition. Some denominations pick up the Bible yesterday and begin to form a church. So when people begin to say they don't observe Lent, it's not in the Bible, it's not whatever, you begin to ask them, have they gotten the tradition that preserve Christianity to this very day?
What could be done to return Christians to proper observance of Lent?
We have to try as much as possible to let them know, to expose the tradition of Christianity to them, so that in seeing how it all started, they may begin to appreciate that the Bible, the story of the Bible, is being internalized, it is being embodied by the people. You don't just read the Bible, you embody the Bible, you take it on, you live it, it becomes part of life. So, and that is why many people who have the tradition observe Lent, and because it came from the tradition of the Christian faith.
When you pray, when you read the word of God, when you deny yourself of all this pleasure you have involved yourself in, then you must remember those who are poor, the needy, the less privileged ones. This is a period to remember them in our prayers.
During Jesus Christ on earth, he also fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. We all know that is a good thing for anybody who called him or herself a Christian to fast at this season, just to come back to Christ. Because we are all sinners. We are living by the grace of God, and during this time we have to come closer to him by the fasting.
It is believed that adherence to a life of moderation, generosity, kindness, among other Christ-like living, will help a society filled with vices heal. Joy Pius, OSRC.
Now to crime issues. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested the preacher and the General Overseer of Christ Living Hope Church, Reverend Ugochukwu Emmanuel, for carrying 54 sticks of drugs. A statement by the agency said the suspect was nabbed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos while on his way to a crusade in Nairobi, Kenya. Reverend Ugochukwu, who was arrested in an outward clearance of passengers on an Ethiopian Airlines flight to Nairobi via Addis Ababa, was said to have wrapped the drugs around his body. NDLEA spokesman Femi Babafemi said in a statement that when tested, the 54 sticks proved positive to cannabis, and that the clergyman confessed during preliminary interview that he packed that quantity of illicit substance on his body to use during his 3-week crusade in Kenya. Still on crime-related issues, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has arrested 19 suspected oil vandals and impounded 7 trucks in Delta State. NSCDC Public Relations Officer in the state, Emeka Peters, in a statement, said the move was in line with the core mandate of the agency to provide adequate and effective round-the-clock security and protection of life and property. He said Delta State Commandants of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Akinsoya Abiodun, paraded 19 suspects, 2 tankers, and 7 trucks that were arrested for various crimes across the state. Akinsoya warned criminals to either repent or be brought to justice, adding that the suspect will be charged to court to serve as deterrent to others. Now to insecurity. At least 5 passengers were confirmed killed and 3 others critically injured after bandits armed with sophisticated weapons opened fire on a vehicle passing along Yatumaki-Damusa Road in Katsina State. An eyewitness said of the 8 passengers, who were all indigenous of Gobirawa and Kaiga Malaima villages in Katsina State, 6 of them were returning from Benin City in Edo State where they work. Another one was returning from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, where he had gone to supply chickens. Police spokesman Gambo Issa also confirmed the incident to journalists. In the meantime, former head of state General Yakubu Gowon has appealed to Plateau residents on peaceful coexistence to stimulate development. Gowon made the call while unveiling the redesigned oldest golf course in Nigeria, Rayfield 1913 in Jos. He said Plateau people and Nigerians should explore all necessary measures in the pursuit of peace while respecting the sanctity of life at all times. The former head of state expressed sadness on the determination of a few criminal-minded people and groups to terrorize the country. While commending the Nigerian Army Forces personnel for their gallant efforts in dealing with criminals across the country, he urged Nigerians to support security agencies through exposing their activities. You're still watching Osrc News at 7. We'll take a break now. When we return, President Buhari condemns distraction within APC ahead March 26 National Convention. Do stay with us. Glad to have you back. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook, Osrc TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel, Osrc TV Ondo. St. David's Anglican Cathedral, Ijomo Akure, came alive as the wife of the Bishop of the Akure Diocese, Mrs. Christiana Borokini, rolled out drums to celebrate her 60th birthday. Clerics, church members, Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, Secretary to the State Government Oladun Yodu, among other dignitaries, were present at the event. Omoriola Hunbeji reports that guests on the occasion described Mrs. Christiana Borokini as a virtuous woman who plays a role to benefit society.
Attaining age 60 at a time when humans battle numerous challenges called for celebration. Hence the decision by the wife of the Bishop of Akure Anglican Diocese, Mrs. Christiana Borokini, to give thanks to God at her 60th birthday. The array of dignitaries at the event speaks volume of the personality and character of the celebrant, as groups, including school children, also added glamour to the event. Archbishop of Lagos Province, the Most Reverend Humphrey Olumakaye, in his sermon at the event said, birthday celebration is heavenly recognized, noting that Mrs. Borokini acknowledged the goodness of God in her life through the celebration.
If you have nothing to thank God for peace of mind. Thank God for everlasting life. You can't buy these things with money.
The celebrant, alongside her husband, Right Reverend Simon Borokini, danced into the reception hall, saying, God has been her strength.
You will all see there are people trooped out in large number to celebrate the faithfulness of God in my life. It is God, and it is God.
Her husband and children also called her blessed.
She has been a wonderful, amiable companion. I think it was a divine arrangement that God decided to join us together as husband and wife.
She's a workaholic. She is a role model to us.
Chairman on the occasion and Governor of Ondo State, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, represented by his deputy, Lucky Ayedatiwa, Chairman, Ondo State Council of Obas, and Deji of Akure, Oba Ladelusi Aladetoyinbo, as well as other dignitaries, praised the celebrant popularly called Mama Akure with prayers that God grants her longer life.
Mama Akure is a very nice woman. Is our mother in the Lord in this diocese.
She's not just a wife. She's a mother to all of us, not just our wife.
I will congratulate Mama, who is celebrating her 60 years.
Birthday cake cutting was directed by the Secretary to the State Government, Princess Oladuni Udu. The 4-day program commemorating the birthday celebration commenced with empowerment visit to less privileged, free medical treatment, novelty march, and climaxed with a Thanksgiving service. Omoriola Hunbeji, Osrc News.
Now to education stories. The management of Rivers Giwa Polytechnic, or Rugipo, has approved tomorrow, March 14, 2022, as resumption date for the 2021-2022 academic session. A statement by the registrar of the institution, Mr. Sule Atiku, says screening and registration for fresh students will commence tomorrow. The statement says returning students are to resume on the 28th of March 2022, adding that all academic activities will resume immediately. A female inmate of the Nigerian Correctional Service Lagos State Command, Okike Chinyere, has emerged as the best graduating student of the Peace and Conflict Resolution Department, National Open University. She bagged the second-class upper degree in the course, according to a statement by the Correctional Service. Aside from her, our male inmate, Alegbe Afolabi, was awarded an MSc in Peace and Conflict Resolution. In his vote of thanks, one of the graduating inmates, Nweke Chibweze, thanked the Controller General, Haliru Namba, and the Vice Chancellor of the National Open University for the opportunity. He, however, pleaded for clemency for the graduating students so they can be freed to contribute the quota to the country's development. Still on education, the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu, has assured Nigerians that the federal government would continue to invest hugely in education to boost the quality of teaching and learning in the country. Adamu made the pledge in a message sent to the 33rd convocation ceremony of the Federal College of Education, Ellen Amofo, in Enugu State. He said President Buhari's administration had always given education special attention, which is said teachers' retirement age of 60 to 65 years. Government has ensured that all tertiary institutions in the country received robust intervention from TED Fund to boost infrastructure in institutions. Moving to the foreign scene, Russian airstrikes have killed 9 people at a military base outside Ukraine's western city of Lviv in an attack that brings the conflict dangerously close to the Polish border. Ukraine's capital, Kiev, meanwhile, prepared for possible encirclement of Russian forces who invaded the country on February 24. In a video address posted on social media, President Volodymyr Zelensky was adamant that the Russians would not take Ukraine. After more than 2 weeks of attacks in eastern and southern Ukraine, Russian forces have in recent days hit targets in the center and now the west, edging close to the frontier with EU and NATO member Poland. Meanwhile, a United States journalist has been shot dead and another wounded in a frontline northwest suburb of Kiev. Danilo Sharapolov, a surgeon volunteering for the Ukrainian Territorial Defense, said one of the Americans died instantly and that he had treated the other. Before we go tonight, let's remind you that as the 2023 general elections draw near, some social commentators and watchers of the polity have called on religious organizations to be more involved in politics towards playing critical roles in social re-engineering. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arrested a preacher and general overseer of Christ Living Hope Church, Reverend Ugochukwu Emmanuel, for carrying 54 sticks of cannabis. And at least 5 passengers have been killed and 3 others injured after bandits opened fire on a vehicle in Katsina State. And from the foreign scene, we told you that 5 people have died in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine as Russian forces attacked Ukrainian military. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Good night.